Arjun, standing amidst the battlefield, his heart heavy with confusion, looks to his divine friend Krishna and asks, O Krishna, you speak of the enlightened one, the one who has transcended the mind, who is untouched by the waves of existence. But how do we know such a person? How does such a being walk, speak, and live in this world? What sets them apart from the rest of us who are caught in the storm of desires and fears? Dear seekers, this is no ordinary question. It is the cry of a soul seeking truth. It is the voice of someone standing at the crossroads of life, yearning to understand the mystery of existence. Arjuna is not asking about abstract philosophy. He is asking how enlightenment looks, how it breathes, how it moves. He is asking not from his intellect, but from the depth of his heart that longs to be free. And Krishna, with the infinite calm of one who is beyond time, listens. He knows that this question is not just Arjuna's, it is the question of every seeker. It is the question of every human being who has ever felt the weight of the world and wondered if there is a way to rise above it. It is the question we all must ask. How does the enlightened one live? How does a being who has transcended the turmoil of the mind move through a world that is full of it? How can we too learn to live from that place of unshakable wisdom, from that place of inner peace? Arjuna's question opens the door to the profound teachings that follow, where Krishna reveals not just the traits of the enlightened, but the path for all of us to walk, a path towards becoming a Stita-prajna, a person of a steady wisdom, grounded in the eternal while moving through the ever changing. Let us dive deep into this question that Arjuna asks, a question that holds the fragrance of a timeless yearning. Arjuna stands amidst the chaos of the battlefield, not just an external battle, but an inner one. The turmoil of existence, the ceaseless push and pull of desires, fears, and doubts has overwhelmed him. He turns to Krishna, not merely to seek strategy, but to seek peace, to understand what it means to live beyond the battlefield of the mind. Arjuna asked this question in the 55th verse of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita in a simple yet profound way. He asked, how do we recognize such an enlightened person? How does one who has gone beyond the fluctuations of the mind, beyond the clutches of the ego, move, speak, and behave in this world? Arjuna's inquiry is not intellectual, it is the heart's cry of someone who has seen the limits of worldly life and is now seeking to know the boundless. Let me tell you a story about Buddha, who also faced such questions from his disciples. One day, a seeker came to Buddha and asked, O Master, what is the difference between you and me? You seem so calm. You seem so untouched by anything. But I am a mass of desires, fears, and constant confusion. How can I become like you? Buddha smiled, a smile that held the whole universe in its softness. He replied, the difference between you and me is simple. When a thought or a desire arises in your mind, you follow it. It pulls you this way and that, like a leaf in the wind. You become identified with it. You say, This is me, this is my thought, this is my desire. But when a thought or desire arises in my mind, I simply watch it like clouds passing through the sky. I know I am not the cloud. I know I am the vastness of the sky, and I remain untouched. This is the key, dear seekers. The enlightened one, the Stita-prajna, the one of steady wisdom, does not deny the world, does not renounce it in some outward way. Instead, they move through it as a lotus moves through water, untouched, untainted. The water is all around, but the lotus remains pure. The question Arjuna asks, how does such a person behave, is not about outer actions, but about the inner state of being. The enlightened one may speak, may walk, may act just like you or me, but their inner world is entirely different. While we are tossed about by the waves of joy and sorrow, gain and loss, praise and blame, the Stita-prajna stands like a rock in the middle of the ocean, unmoved by the waves. This is what it means to live beyond the fluctuations of the mind. Now, to clarify, the Stita-prajna does not become emotionless or cold. They are not robots. No, they are fully alive, but they are not driven by the compulsions of the ego or desires. When they speak, it is not out of a need to prove anything. When they act, it is not out of fear or greed. They respond to life with the spontaneity and freshness of a child, but with the wisdom of one who has seen the essence of existence. Take, for instance, the moment when Krishna is revealing these profound truths to Arjuna. Here he is in the middle of a battlefield where chaos reigns, where life and death hang in the balance, and yet Krishna's state is one of perfect equanimity. His wisdom flows effortlessly, untouched by the urgency of the moment. He is not concerned with the outcome of the battle, whether Arjuna wins or loses, whether kingdoms are gained or lost. These are the concerns of the ego. Krishna's concern is only for the deeper truth, only for the eternal. He is a mirror reflecting the boundlessness of consciousness, and through him, Arjuna is invited to see that same boundlessness within himself. In this verse, Krishna is showing us that the Stita-prajna is one who has transcended the dualities of life. They are not swayed by pleasure or pain, success or failure, because they no longer identify with the small self, the ego. They know they are not the body, they are not the mind. They are the witness, the pure awareness that watches everything come and go without being affected. Let us now return to Buddha. Once a man came to him and started hurling insults. He was angry, furious with Buddha's teachings, feeling threatened by the peace and detachment that Buddha embodied. The man shouted, the man cursed, trying to provoke Buddha. But Buddha sat there, serene, as if the insults were a gentle breeze. After some time, the man grew tired and asked, "Why don't you react? I have insulted you. I have called you names. But you just sit there." Buddha replied calmly, "If someone gives you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man paused, confused. "It remains with the one who offered it." Buddha smiled. "Exactly. I do not accept your insults, so they remain with you." This is the essence of the Stita-prajna. They live in the world, but the world does not live in them. They experience everything, but Nothing leaves a trace. Their mind is like a mirror. It reflects everything but remains untouched. The reflection comes and goes, but the mirror remains clear, pure, and undisturbed. Now, dear seekers, Arjuna's question is not just about recognizing such a person. It is also an invitation for each one of us to reflect on how we live. Can we too cultivate such steadiness in our own lives? Can we learn to move through the world like the lotus, untouched by the waters of desire and fear? Krishna is not pointing to something impossible. He is not describing a state that only a few can attain. The Stita-prajna is a possibility for all of us because it is our true nature. We have simply forgotten it. We are like kings who have forgotten their kingdom and now wander in poverty. But the kingdom is still ours. The wisdom, the peace, the steadiness, it is all within us, waiting to be rediscovered. How do we rediscover it? By learning to step back from the mind, by watching the fluctuations of our thoughts and emotions without getting lost in them. Just as Buddha said, thoughts will arise, desires will come, but we do not have to follow them. We can remain the sky, vast and open, while the clouds of thought pass through. The journey to becoming a Stita-prajna is not about controlling the mind or suppressing emotions. It is about understanding that we are not the mind, we are not the emotions. We are the awareness in which they arise. And once we realize this deeply, the mind loses its power over us. It becomes a tool, something we can use when needed, but no longer something that controls us. This is the life of Sthita Prajna, dear seekers, a life of inner freedom, a life where one moves through the world with grace, responding to situations with wisdom, but never getting caught in the drama of life. They are in the world, but not of it. They live from the center of their being, rooted in the eternal, unshaken by the temporary. And this, dear seekers, is the invitation for each one of us. To become a Stita-prajna is to become truly alive, to live from a place of deep peace and unshakable wisdom. The path may seem long, but every step brings us closer to our true nature. Every moment of mindfulness, every act of letting go is a return to our essence. So, let us live like the lotus, rooted in the mud of the world, but blossoming in the light of awareness. Let us remember who we are, pure consciousness, untouched by the fluctuations of life. This is the path Krishna is pointing us to, the path of Sthita Prajna, the one of steady wisdom. And once we have touched this wisdom, everything else fades into insignificance. We become the mirror, clear and bright, reflecting the beauty of existence, but never getting caught in its reflections. This is the way of the enlightened. This is the path for each one of us.